Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good morning on this Tuesday morning as we delve into what the hell happened on the sidelines with AB. Welcome to the JP Peterson Show. We thank you so much for joining us. We are presented by the law offices of Chris Palermo, and we got one hell of a show for you this morning. Wow. We have a panel that will break down what else going on with the Bucs, what happened with Antonio Brown's limo driver or whatever his driver that picked him up went on Barstool yesterday, and I thought gave some very illuminating information as to what exactly happened. There seems to be a lot of back and forth now between the fans. Some fans are pissed at Bruce Arians. Some analysts are calling Bruce Arians a liar. Bruce Arians' interview yesterday was, let me say, less than forthright as far as explaining exactly what happened, which leads us numbskulls like me to have to speculate to a lot of things. I'm certainly not calling BA a liar. I think what he said is probably exactly what happened. If I'm going to back somebody in a conversation that I didn't hear, it's certainly not going to be Antonio Brown. That's not going to happen. So we got lots to get to today. Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report's going to join us at 10:30. We'll get his take not only on what happened, what should happen, and how the Bucs move forward. TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy who was right there in about 10 yards of the B when the whole damn thing went down, will join us at 11 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts as well. And Chris Myers, who was on the play-by-play for Fox Sports, will join us at 11:30 from Los Angeles. So we got it all covered in every way. We're going to hear the Barstool interview about from the driver, who's going to give us some insight into what was going on in AB's head. So much to get to, and we will do it beginning right now. Nick Geddes from Outkick.com joining me here this morning, running all the controls. What's up, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning to you. A little chilly in the air today. 2 days in a row, by the way.
Great, so good.
Great weather. I don't know if you got into some golf yesterday.
I did not. I did
not.
A lot too much work to do yesterday, and too much work to do today. But tomorrow, maybe. Wow, 24 hours has gone by, and I don't think we're maybe 48 hours, and any closer to knowing exactly what happened yesterday. I was hoping that Bruce's press conference would be somewhat illuminating, but he was kind of cryptic in what he wanted to say. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that it appears that Antonio Brown is setting up some type of grievance against the Buccaneers to get money, to get whatever, to get sympathy, to get what have you. Just to catch you up with what's going on in the past 24 hours, AB was at the Brooklyn Nets game last night. Natalie attired, out and about, doing his thing. He's been all over social media, doing a lot of different things on social media. What have you observed, my friend? Student of social media that you are. Slave to Twitter that you are.
Slave to Twitter, huh? No, I mean, he's been all over social media, like you said. I even saw he had a video. He posted a nice little tribute video, which is kind of weird, bizarre, about Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know if you saw that one as well.
I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah, that one was interesting as well, of him talking about Ben, because I thought he didn't like Ben Roethlisberger, and he was like very calm, cool, and collected. That right there kind of sounded like the old AB for a second, for the most part, but
we'll play that one too.
Yeah, we'll have to play that one as well. But yeah, he's been a little, I wouldn't say off the rails,
no,
by any means. Not like the old AB, not like the really old AB, but a bit more active than usual.
So if the first thing I wanted to do as we come on today, we're going to get to the Bruce Arians comments here real quickly, because I think it sets up a lot of the different things I'm going to say. But what concerns me is there's a lot of different narratives going back and forth about his incentives and AB getting pissed off that he wasn't getting the ball, which is really unbelievable, to be quite honest. I know, last week there were 15 targets He got 10. He caught 10 of them. Early in the game, they're throwing him tunnel screens. And by the way, this whole idea that he is injured, I went back and looked at all the tape. I'm going to put up a couple of pieces today. He took a tunnel screen late in the first half, broke a tackle, and scampered out of bounds, jumped up. There's no hint of a limp anywhere. The last play that he played, he runs a go route, at 4-2. An injury was not apparent. And I think this goes back to what happened earlier in the week. There were reports from Ian Rappaport. We're going to play that one as well, about him being injured and not wanting to go back into the game, and that there were things brewing earlier in the week. Late in the week, AB missed practice because of an ankle. Folks, there's absolutely zero evidence last week or this week that he has an ankle injury. So what the hell's going on with that? If you got an ankle injury, you're going to be limping, or you're going to be, you're not going to be doing the things that he did on the field this week. So can we put that to bed?
We could put that to bed. And for everybody out there that keeps whining about the incentives and they were denying him his money, please spare me.
They went overboard last week to get him on that track. They started to do it this week, but going into the game and even coming out of the second half, Bruce Arians told Jen Hale that Mike Evans and AB are on pitch counts because they're trying to keep him healthy for the playoffs. That's nothing wrong with that. He was 8 receptions away, 55 yards. He was going to get those in the next 2 games.
Do you remember too, last year at the end of the year, they threw like 30 times the last 2 games to him to give him incentives.
Yes.
So that argument doesn't hold anything.
No, and in the Barstool interview with Danny Boy Hustlehard, which is just such a Jersey nickname. I just love it. Danny Boy Hustlehard, who was the guy that picked up AB. He says that AB was complaining that Tom Brady was just throwing to Gronk. He was just throwing to Gronk. So what is it coming down to here? It's coming down to the old AB. It's the old AB that surfaced last week after the game when he was confronted with some questions about the COVID card, et cetera, and blamed the media for his COVID card problem, blah, blah, creating drama. No, you created the drama, AB, and you had to deal with the consequences. To me, that's where this whole thing shifted. AB was doing everything that he was supposed to do, was going to all the meetings, going to all the practices, doing everything everybody else was doing. But, the things that I feared that eventually would rear their ugly head finally did.
But did it ever feel natural to you watching him get up there and kind of seem so soft-spoken and really be kind of quiet? Did it ever feel natural?
Well, I wanted to give the guy the benefit of the doubt that he went and, he saw Tony Robbins. I mean, come on. Once you experience a one-on-one session with Tony Robbins, it's life-changing. You're a changed man. I mean, everybody knows this. This is, he has got the magic touch. But so he did seem, and I do think he clearly changed. He clearly changed. He wasn't doing the same things that he was doing with the Raiders or the Steelers. He was showing up at practice. He was working his ass off. He was doing everything he was supposed to do. He was saying all the right things. So yeah, I'm going to give a guy a benefit of the doubt that he endeavored to change himself, and he did for a while. Did I think this would ever rear its ugly head? Of course. You'd have to be an idiot to think that he was a completely changed man. I feared it, but I hoped for the best because he had really, he had been on a good roll. We haven't heard anything untoward that he did. His teammates were constantly praising him. Until the COVID card thing. And then once that happened, and I think, the drama that followed with that, it sent him down the rabbit hole. I think he felt like, all of these old wounds that came back from his childhood and everything else started to manifest themselves into his whatever mental psychosis that he's going through. There's clearly some mental issues here. So, yeah, I mean, I had hoped, but no. To say, did it feel natural? No, of course not. But I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. So if this whole idea that's, CTE is part of the equation here, I do think it is. I think CTE is part of the equation. But we cannot completely excuse this behavior. And by the way, there are lots of players in this league right now that are probably suffering some type of CTE and not taking off their pads in the middle of the game and throwing a temper tantrum. And now that we learned that he was pissed off about not getting the ball enough because Tom was throwing it to Gronk. And so now this just becomes just old AB, that he's not getting it. It's all about him. He's not getting the ball enough. The coach asked him to go back in. Why he didn't go back in, I don't know. That is the biggest mystery now. That is the incongruence that we're going to try to discover today. Is if AB was pissed off about his not getting targets, why would you refuse to go back in the game? That doesn't make any sense. Unless, of course, you're AB and you feel like you've been put down and disrespected, so you're not going to go back in the game. Because now Bruce Arians is telling you to go back in and you don't want, and now you're just going to prove who has the power. I don't know. I mean, my mind doesn't work like that, so I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. But I'm just like watching the incident. They're playing the incident right here again, and I'm just like looking at Mike Evans again, and I think that stood out to me too. And we didn't really mention it. If Mike Evans gives up on trying to like reason with you,
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's
who's in the wrong. I mean, look at the people we're talking about here: Mike Evans, Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, Antonio Brown.
Yeah, and somebody
and all these people are going to go on the radio and television and say, "Oh, it's Bruce Arians is lying. They handled it poorly."
And also look at who Antonio Brown has played for: Mike Tomlin, John Gruden, Bill Belichick, and Bruce Arians. That's 4 Super Bowl winning coaches, 3 who are bookmarked for the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Messy endings in all of them.
Yeah, but it's somehow Bruce Arians' fault here.
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, just checking. All right, well, let's and not to give Bruce an entire pass here. I think he's being very vague in these answers. And let's just listen in. We put them all together, a montage of all the questions yesterday from the press conference, which usually starts at 12:30, and it started at 12:15 yesterday, so I missed it. My bad. But let's hear the questions and answers.
Hey, BA, I know you said yesterday that, the perception is that Antonio Brown quit. We all saw him walk off the field, but he wouldn't go in the game because he was injured, and now he's no longer part of the team. Can you fire a player if he won't go because he's injured?
I don't know that he was.
Stop.
Did he say that he?
This is part of it. They don't think he's injured. And you know why? Because he's not. Look at the way he's playing. Have you seen a guy with a bad ankle play? You know what happens? They run hard and they get up and they start limping back to the huddle. Then they run hard again. There was never a hint of a limp, at least that I saw, ever. All right, continue.
He was, or was there a dispute about that?
No.
He just refused to go in, or can you tell us more about it?
Not really. I mean, what happened was pretty obvious what happened. So, he left the field and that was it.
Hey, Coach, you've been someone that's expressed genuine care and concern for Antonio. How tough was it for you to see what happened yesterday and to make that call?
Yeah, it's very hard. And I wish him well. I hope if he needs help, get some. And it's very hard because I do care about him.
And was there any type of conversation with him before you made that decision post game? And was there any sort of mental health evaluation performed on him before he left the stadium?
I have no idea.
Did you guys have a conversation before you made that decision?
No, not once he left the field. I never saw him.
Hey, Bruce, I just wanted to clarify. So there was not an issue with regards to injury. The conversation you had with Antonio Brown was not one regarding his ankle injury.
No.
What did AB object to regarding to what you said to make him want to leave the stadium during the game?
You have to ask him, brother. I know. I don't have a clue.
Okay. And then finally, was there any issue or displeasure on the team's part with the way that AB handled his rehab for his ankle injury?
No, none whatsoever. He was cleared to play last week, played good, cleared to play this week.
Hey, Bruce, just a couple of questions. As far as Antonio Brown, what emotions do you have as somebody who has defended him and helped keep him on the team for so long. And were there precipitating moments leading up to that incident on the sideline yesterday?
No, none whatsoever. And yeah, like I said, I care about him a bunch. I hope that he's okay.
Hi, Bruce. Obviously, this played out in such a weird way, right? And everyone nationally was looking at this. And I'm just curious, is after the fact, and you don't know what's going down once he leaves the field, but after the fact, was there any contact made by him to you or by his agent, or was anything communicated after the fact?
No, nothing whatsoever.
Bruce, obviously you guys gave Antonio a chance and he helped you guys win a Super Bowl last year. You have him this year. Were there any type of regret? How will you look at this whole experience now that it's ended this way?
No, I have no regrets. I just hope the best for him.
Bruce, I appreciate your patience on all this. I really do, but it just seems illogical. And I know he's emotional, but you said you had a conversation with AB. Can you share anything about what that was before he left?
No, not at all.
Hey, Coach. I know you said before you didn't think it had anything to do with the ankle. If a player does not feel okay to play in a game, how can they communicate to you guys that they're not feeling well enough? And how do you respond to that if a player says, I'm not feeling well enough to play?
They go to the trainer and the trainer tells me he's out.
So that's all edited together, all the questions and answers. It is absolutely clear that the Bucs do not believe that Antonio Brown was injured. And it's clear that, this is going into what I call CYA mode. And I know, knowing Bruce the way that I know him, I know that he wants to be more forthcoming about what happened. But I think there are either some legal issues or some issues as far as grievances go, where he probably doesn't want to go into more detail because those words will be used against him in a grievance with the Players Association. So I think that's why Bruce is being very, very cryptic. As you would hear somebody deposed in a case where they're just not giving their attorneys will basically say, give as little detail as you have to, answer the questions, but you do not have to elaborate. That's my own personal opinion, what I think is going on here, because obviously Bruce is always extremely honest with us and very candid with us in the media. He very rarely holds back anything. This is kind of off script for him. This is just my opinion in reading between the lines. This is very off script for him. Would you agree with that, Nick? I mean, you've heard all these interviews this year and the past couple of years.
Yeah, and I mean, he's never one for like a long-winded answer, that's for sure, or a long soundbite. He's always really candid. But he's always quick, candid, and to the point. Mm-hmm. And he was anything but there, and they had to ask a lot of questions and really try to kind of dig out of him. And at the end there, Rick doing a great job of reporting was like, it's not adding up. Yeah. And he's in every line to ask that question, obviously. Yeah. So, but I mean, there's other coaches there. I've watched Bill Belichick handle stuff like this before. Yeah. And he immediately will just say, like, I have no comment. Yeah. And he'll just repeat that for 3 minutes. Yeah. Because in the end, it really doesn't do him any good to expound on things because words will be twisted, especially in the media and social media, et cetera, et cetera. But this whole narrative in some way the Bucs have wronged Antonio Brown I just find patently ridiculous. I mean, who has supported this man more than this organization and Tom Brady? Are you kidding me? I mean, to suggest that there's some, dirty pool at play here. Now, Bruce said there was no precipitating incidents up to it, but my sense is, and the people I talked to and, reading between the lines, that something was going on this week when he just magically appeared on the injured list on Friday. That just doesn't add up. And then he goes out and plays the way that he played. He did not look injured one bit. All right. Now this is a report from Ian Rappaport. Do we have this one queued up? From NFL Total Access. Let's listen into this. This is from last night.
So my understanding, MJ, is that it actually started in the locker room at halftime. Antonio Brown was not happy and very loudly made it known that he was not happy, came out of the locker room, and at that point was essentially sitting on the bench. Bruce Arians and the offensive coaches told him to get into the game. He did not go into the game. He refused to go into the game, and at that point, he was told, essentially you're out of here, left the sideline, and all the histrionics followed that you are seeing right here. As far as the Bucs are concerned, that was essentially it. As far as you talk to people close to Antonio Brown, it's a little different. Despite the fact that he was cleared to play, despite the fact that he looked really good while on the field, he believes that his ankle was maybe not healthy enough to be able to play. Remember, missed practice Thursday, missed practice Friday on that same ankle. And in his mind, it was the ankle that was the reason why he was not able to play. So obviously a disagreement there and a different understanding of what happened. Also should note that Antonio Brown was not officially released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. It is going to happen, but it did not happen today. And I should also mention, MD, in the days leading up to the game, there were several people with the Bucs, people close to Antonio Brown, who reached out to him to try to offer that help. Bruce Arians mentioned they just did not think personally he was doing well. It did not work. And then everything we saw on Sunday.
Okay. All right. So Ian Rappaport is a very good, credible reporter. He's got great sources. And the sources that I've talked to within the organization have intimated the same thing. Stuff was brewing. You saw it last week in the press conference. And by the way, I've been told that did not sit well with the team. The press conference that went down last week where he blamed the media for his issues was old AB. We said that last week when we played it. That's old AB. That's not good. And clearly, this is, and I'm not trying to play penny psychologist here, but this is a pattern with him. This is a pattern with him. When he feels he's been wronged, stuff starts to spiral out of control. So as we piece this entire narrative together, do we have the Barstool one? Can you cue that one up? This might take a little second. So this is, and I have to warn you folks, by the way, if you have kids in the car, this is a Barstool. Cue it up to 40:45 on that particular piece of audio you have right there. This is very explicit. There's a lot of F-bombs in this from Danny Boyd Hustle Hard. Says drop F-bombs at every other word. So if you get kids in the car or whatever, you might want to tune away for 2 or 3 minutes. So I just wanted to give you that warning. Go to a 40:45 and just start hitting it. And so this is from the Barstool podcast. I'm not sure which one it is. You might know those better than I.
I think it's Pardon My Take, the one with Big Cat.
With Big Cat. Okay, cool. All right. This is their interview with Danny Boy Hustle Hard, who picked up AB.
It was taking me a little long. People were taking pictures. So this fucking lunatic jumps into a state trooper car.
AB.
And the guy flies him to fucking Newark Airport to get a Tampa flight. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But
he gets to Newark Airport and he's like, "Nah, fuck that." And now me and him are going back and forth on text and telling him what's going on. So I fly to Newark Airport and he hits me up on FaceTime and he's like, "Yo, man, I can't get on this flight, man. You know, they're taking pictures, the video, man. Fuck that. Yo, come pick me up. We turn it up." And I'm like, this kid's fucking shot the fuck out. This kid's really shot out, bro. There's something fucking wrong with this kid.
You think?
So he's fucking terminal C level 2. He's fucking bugging out. He's laughing like this fucking guy's laughing like he just fucking scored 9 touchdowns during the game. Like I couldn't believe what the fuck.
That ain't right, folks.
So I'm like, yo, AB, what up? And he got in the car and we were gone. You know what I'm saying?
So when he's in the car, is he just like, yo, that was pretty crazy? Or was he it was just normal, regular day? Like, yeah,
bro. If you would have saw him, you would have thought his fucking girl just gave birth to a fucking baby. Like he was in such a happy mood.
So happy to get out.
But you could tell he was like in not a bad mood, but maybe he was like a little disappointed, but he was trying not to let it get to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's got to be nice to quit your job. No matter what, it's cool to quit your job.
Well, here's the deal. He wasn't really signed. Yeah, he's not signed for like a fucking $30-40 million contract. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, AB's got money, so he really doesn't care about, whatever's going on, whatever he signed for or whatever. But
I don't know about that.
So not that he doesn't care about. I don't want to say he doesn't care, but It's like, you know, he really didn't give a fuck, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
So we got in the car.
I flew to the airport because I know AB personally, and I know he's a fucking lunatic, and I don't want him getting locked up at the airport. So I was already on my way over there, bro.
So you pick him up, you get him in the car. He seems to be in a pretty happy mood. Did he give you any indication whatsoever of what it was that made him make the decision to just throw his shirt and his gloves?
Well, here's the deal. They were down. I'll be honest with you. They were down 24-10 or whatever the score was, and he wasn't getting the ball. You know what I'm saying? So, and what really set him off, I think the coach or somebody on the sideline. Yeah, it was a coach said something to him that really just flipped his fucking top. You know what I'm saying? That's 100% fact.
Yeah.
I don't know if the coach said he was going to bench him. I don't know what was said because I wasn't there, but I know that something was said and that just made him flip his top because if you watch the game, Gronk was getting the ball the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
And,
yeah, no, that's true. The I guess my last question is, so he got cut like right after the game. Was he in your car when he got officially cut, or did he know like this is it? This is not.
He was in my car the whole time. After I picked him up, me and him were in the car for like, I don't know, like a good 2 hours. We were just driving around, went to the city. You know what I'm saying? We just you know, went to the city and just try to get that shit off his mind. And I mean, not that it was going to get off his mind right away, but you know, try to get that shit off his mind and put him in a better place. And me and AB, like we fuck with each other. So I mean, he kept saying he was FaceTiming all his people, like, yo, man, he picked me up, you know. Damn, man, he always puts me in a better mood and shit, man. Fuck these folks, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's good.
But
I think that's enough. That's enough F-bombs per capita, right? That's exactly how I expect Danny Boy Hustle hard to
we
talk.
got our yearly fill-in of F-bombs there.
Thank you for Barstool Sports. Big Cat's great get there. Great interview, great get. But I think it gives some indication as to his state of mind. He was pissed off he wasn't getting the ball. In the first half, he had 5 targets, bro. 5 targets in the first half. Ergo, 10 targets for the game. I mean, come on. They're calling actual predetermined plays to get him the football.
I'm just so confused. He said Gronk was getting the ball too much for his liking. Is that what I took from that?
And balling, by the way. Yes, that's what he was saying.
First of all, like we said yesterday, Gronk was playing the best game of his
balling
of his year.
And by the way, he had 10 targets for the entire game. Which equals 5 times 2.
Literally a week before, Gronk had 1 catch.
Yeah, and I think 1 target.
1 target.
Well, he had 15
coming back from the ankle too.
Come on, no. What are we talking about here? And people are defending this, that it's Bruce Arians' fault. Look, this is exactly what happened. He felt like he wasn't getting enough attention, and Bruce Arians went over there and said, "Hey, you going back in the game?" He said no, and Bruce Arians said, "Then get the hell out of here." Then get the hell out of here. And so he did. How is that Bruce Arians' fault? How in the hell is this Bruce Arians' fault? Please explain this to me. This narrative that somehow, and you even heard Jenna ask that question. If a guy doesn't want to go back into the game, and then how can you fire him? He didn't fire him because he had an ankle injury. He fired him because he wouldn't go back into the game and he was disrupting the sideline. And he was going to throw a little temper tantrum, and that's what happened. Come on now.
People have been covering for this guy for a long time. For
It's
whatever
unbelievable.
reason. Remember the Pittsburgh thing?
Yeah.
What was the narrative? It's Ben Roethlisberger's fault.
Right.
Remember
right.
that?
Yeah.
How fitting what we saw last night with Ben Roethlisberger and the day before Antonio Brown. You want to tell me that it was Ben Roethlisberger's fault?
It's always everybody else's fault.
No.
Come on now.
No, I'm not buying it.
Please, just stop with this. Stop with this. This is, is CTE partially involved here? I think it is, but you can't excuse it. How many players out there have gotten concussions? They're not all running around doing what AB's doing.
No,
and he's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
It's always been about him.
It's an Antonio Brown issue.
Yeah.
It really is.
Now, everybody supported him up until the point where he went old AB and was all about himself. This is not what this team is about. And Bruce Arians, when he said 0 tolerance, he didn't mean for some of the, infractions on COVID protocols. He meant for chemistry things that are going to mess up your team on the field. That's what's important. And yes, that's what got him kicked off the team. And to think that, to say that Bruce Arians played this wrong, as Mike Bianchi and others would say, that he sold his soul for Antonio Brown. He had the guy that knows more about winning Super Bowls than any player in the history, any human on earth, and that's Tom Brady told Bruce Arians, I want AB, and we need AB, and they won a Super Bowl. Who am I to say they would have won the Super Bowl without him? Tom Brady doesn't think so. He knows a hell of a lot more than me or anybody else.
When people say sold their soul, I want you to go back to most of the Super Bowl winning teams. Probably got a good character sitting there, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, can I go down the list? Ray Lewis with the Ravens in 2000. Did they sell their soul?
And by
then?
the way, Arians had to be talked into it. He didn't want him here. He didn't want him here. And he was, and if anything, he was proven right.
Probably a better example even earlier. Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
He had him on video.
Yes.
Beating his girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean,
they took him back and they won a Super Bowl.
If they're gonna, if the media or whomever are gonna try to fracture this team and say that Bruce Arians bullied Antonio Brown into quitting, you're out of your freaking mind. All right, quick break. When we back, Scott Reynolds to report. Join us. TJ Reed going to join us at 11 o'clock. He was on the sideline. Chris Myers, who's the play-by-play man for the game, we'll find out what was going on in the booth during this whole debacle. Great show coming your way. Plus, Tracy West from Valspar has big names committing to the Valspar Championship. And I mean big names. We'll break it here. What a show. Who wants free mobile service? I do. And you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up. JP, Santa, and young Saint Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Gold and Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped the question to your lady from the Gold and Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. The Gold and Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who's so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to the Gold and Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Supercenter, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaways, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldanddiamond.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-2... $1,000 in first-year payments and $2,200 in lender's fees. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on Fan Street Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. We got a great show for you today as we kind of dissect with our panel of experts what the hell happened yesterday, and it matters, or on Sunday, it matters moving forward. What is the psychological situation with this team right now? Where's their head at as far as their head coach goes? What just happened? Are these players upset at the coach? Are they pissed off at AB? What exactly is going on? So we got to figure out exactly what went down. And Sarah wasn't exactly the most forthcoming yesterday. So piecing it together with our expert panel. Next up is the great Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report. Nobody covers this team like Pewter Report, and Scott's been doing it for a very, very long time. My friend, how are you?
Doing good, JP. How are you?
I kind of, this is invigorating for a reporter, to be quite honest. I think you're probably invigorated as well at this whole thing. This is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it. And now the follow-up, we're trying to get answers. And I don't think that press conference yesterday necessarily shed any light on what the hell happened. Just your take on yesterday's press conference with Bruce.
Well, it's one of those things where we have an obligation to ask the questions.
Absolutely.
Bruce has the obligation to listen to the questions, but he's in no obligation to answer them. And so, we have to respect that. But, I think to myself and Jenna, and Elaine, and Greg Ullman, and Rich Stroud, we all tried our best to get some information from Bruce. He just wasn't really forthcoming. Speaking to the questions that I asked, I asked him, if he had a conversation with Brown that led to him leaving the stadium, right? I mean, I wanted to know what about the conversation was said that triggered this. And he said, you have to ask him. I don't know. I don't have a clue. And I asked him, are there any issues with the way from the team? Did the team have any issues with the way Brown handled his rehab from the ankle injury? He said, no, none whatsoever. He was cleared to play last week and played well. He was clear to play this week. So I think there's some narrative that started probably from Brown's camp that this was injury related.
Right.
But that just does not hold any water whatsoever.
No.
Because he was out there playing in the first half.
Yeah.
And he certainly played on that last week. Then he did miss some practice days, but practiced on Saturday.
Right.
And then was hopping, skipping, jumping off the field.
Come on.
It's
a joke. It's a joke. Go look at the tape. He's running stop routes. The last time he touched the ball, he got a tunnel screen, which they called, I think, 2 or 3 for him, which if they're not trying to, if you're trying to keep a guy from incentives, you're not purposefully calling tunnel screens where the ball has to go to him on that play. And he's breaking tackles and explosive out of cuts. The man did not have an injured ankle. That's complete bullshit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm with you on that. The other thing is I'm not buying the incentive thing at all.
No.
Bruce Arians wanted him to play.
Yes.
That was the thing. So, again, that narrative completely falls apart because AB refused to go in. I mean, there's multiple people saying that.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure exactly what transpired to get to that situation. I will say that, listen, Antonio Brown was a ticking time bomb. It went off in the third quarter.
Yep.
And, we all kind of realize or suspect there's some underlying mental health issue or concern there that just got triggered during that moment, and it's like, as much as we want to be compassionate and empathetic about that as Tom has said,
right,
and indicated that there's a flip side to this, in that this is a game where people's livelihoods are at stake, right? And it's like, there's 2 sides to every story. It's like, this goes back to the Simone Biles incident, where she left the Olympics due to mental health issues. Okay,
right.
Well, it's great for your individual competition, but when you're part of a team, there is a real aspect that you're letting the team down. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just trying to look at this in the most fair light and realize that life isn't fair.
Right.
When you're playing a team sport like this, and you have somebody that and I use the term quit because that's exactly what it was. He
Yes.
quit on the team, he left. And now, was that because of a legitimate mental health breakdown or something? It very well could have been, but that doesn't diminish the fact that he quit. And I'm not buying the notion that Bruce Arians did something nefarious. Listen, AB has got his supporters. He's got his fans that you could, you can't reason with some of those AB fans. I've seen them on social media.
Yep.
They think this guy hung the moon, and you know what? That's their prerogative as a fan to support their player, till the bitter end and die on that hill. But his actions, the way he handled that, was not normal, and it's indefensible. And listen, I want to be sympathetic because I do understand there's some mental health issues, but at the same time, Bruce Arians has a team to run and a game to win, and he had to do what was best for the Buccaneers, and that was cut Antonio Brown because they can't afford to have another incident like this happen in the playoffs. They just can't.
100%, and it's great that it happened now instead of the playoffs. It's a great point. Pewter Report, Scott Reynolds joining us right here. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about what's going on the sideline in that particular time. And I went back and looked at the entire tape. He starts to play the second half, and Gronk gets a couple of passes here and there. And we learn now from Danny Boy, what's his name? Danny Boy Hurtin' Hard, or whatever the hell his name is, from Barstool, who picked him up, that he was bitching about Gronk getting too many throws. And here is a guy that got targeted 5 times in the first half and the first drive of the second half. I mean, come on. And 15 last week. This is ridiculous. And to me, this is just old classic AB, where it's all about him and he doesn't give a crap about anybody else. And you had something really good on Pewter Report. You got the something from Peter King from NBC Sports. And I guess, Arians talked to him, and he said some very enlightening things. You want to fill us in on that?
Yeah, I mean, what Bruce Arians was talking about was, one of the things that stuck out to me was that he was, he pretty much told the team that, that we're going to win, with the guys they have in the locker room, and that's it. But, Bruce Arians told Peter King, it's a shame. I feel bad for him. He just can't help himself. And he said that Arians asked Brown to go into the game. According to Arians, Brown said, nope, I'm not going in. The Athletic reported Brown's ankle was sore. That's the reason why he wouldn't go in. Whatever the reason, Arians told me he was very angry with Brown, who went to the bench area and began taking off his pads and his jersey. Then Mike Evans tried to intervene. But according to Arians, I think this is an interesting quote.
Yeah.
Arians said, quote, he had that look in his eye that I haven't seen for a long time.
Yep.
And whether it's an underlying mental health concern, or whether that is just ego run amok, or entitled run amok, or a combination of both, I don't believe. All I can do is evaluate him by his actions and his words, and it doesn't kind of line up. It's not normal behavior, and I don't think that Bruce Arians is the kind of guy tolerate distractions. He's already kind of done that one time with the Vax card issue, right? And here's the other thing too. Looking back, I think, and listen, there's always a legal component to this too.
Yes,
JP,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I mentioned this.
Looking back now, I think that the Buccaneers did not want to do anything like release Antonio Brown. Not that they were going to. I'm just speculating here. But because Mike Edwards got busted on the Vax card issue, they will probably open up themselves to a grievance, an NFL grievance, if they got Brown, Edwards, right? In that instance, because both of those players got the same treatment from the NFL, for the same violation, and the Buccaneers, would have been singling out AB. So I think maybe now that's something that we have to kind of consider. The other thing too is listen, this is going to a grievance. There's money involved here, right? AB is he's got some bonus money that he was supposed to getting. And listen, he would have got that money next week, JP.
No question. Tom Brady seen what he did last year.
Of course. Go back and look at last year, and JP, go back and look at the last game. Who was not on the field for the Buccaneers? Antonio Brown. Who was on the field for the Buccaneers? Cyril Grayson. Guess who got targeted 5 times on the final drive?
Cyril Grayson.
Guess who had 4 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown? Cyril Grayson.
That would have been AB.
That could have been AB. Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point to this from a legal perspective is everything Bruce Arians says, press conferences and interviews, is essentially evidence that his agents, the Browns agents, can use to file a grievance. So I don't blame Arians for being coy, for not being direct, for being brief with those answers, because this is going to end up in a grievance. It's not going to be a huge thing. We're talking about maybe $1 million or or so. But there will be a grievance. Brown's going to try to get his money, and he's got every right to do that. And they'll file a grievance. But again, the antics of him hopping, skipping, and jumping off the field, right? That's video evidence the Buccaneers will use.
Yes.
Everything AB is posting on social media is
Yes.
video evidence the Buccaneers will use too.
Yeah, it's that's so well put. And that whole that one quote, and I'm glad you said that. He had that look in his eye that I haven't seen for a long time. You know, I think we all know he's got mental issues. There's no question about it. I know a lot of people want to blame CTE. I think CTE is at work here. I do, but I'm not blaming it all. Everything you just said, a lot of other players are dealing with. They've been concussed. They've had long careers. Go back and look at the Mike Websters of the world and all these guys that we know had CTE. I don't remember any of them quitting in the middle of the game, running through the end zone without a shirt on, blah, 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 blah. This is a guy that's done this before. This guy didn't show up for practice the week of a must-win game for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get into the playoffs. I mean, this dude is all about him. It went back to old AB.
The other thing too is AB immediately went to posting on social media, right? Everything about his new raps to to super gremlin. I mean,
which he hadn't been doing.
Yeah, he's not showing some of those telltale signs that he like anger issues or withdrawing, from friends, family, from society. He's broadcasting his every move out there on social media. So he doesn't look like a guy that was traumatized by anything that happened for that sideline incident. I think even the cab driver, the Uber driver, whatever, that he was very happy in the car.
Yeah, very happy and ready and complaining about not getting targets. Scott Reynolds joining us here at Pewter Report. So at the last line that Arians said reportedly in the locker room in the post-game speech was, you're either with us or against us. All I want you to know is I'll take the guys in this locker room and go play anyone in the world. So the question is to you now, do they turn this into motivation as they did? I think they used it for motivation to win that game. I absolutely do. I heard some of the comments from Gronkowski saying, when asked about AB, he said, listen, man, I'm banging my head up against a 300-pounder, playing my ass off, breaking tackles, not to gloss himself, but to just say, look, I didn't have time to worry about this crap. We got to go play football. This was part of one of the greatest wins we've ever had. And that just told me that they rallied around this. And I think it's a great thing that the Bucs can do right now.
Yeah. And here's the thing, JP, this is a 2-part, scenario that put through here. Remember when the Buccaneers lost in Washington, right? 29-19.
Yep.
And we had a conversation following that. You asked me, did the Buccaneers win without AB and Gronk? And I said, no, because look what happened. They had Mike Evans, who had 2 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown. Was only targeted 3 times because the rest of the long defense took it away. Chris Godwin was up to 7 yards per catch. I think he had 8 catches for 57 yards in that game, no touchdowns. And it was a game that Leonard Fournette actually had 9 targets, caught 8 passes. So the Washington defense took away everything deep. And Brady could not win without 3 of the big 4, right? The big 4, Evans, Godwin, AB, and Gronkowski. And you and I had a conversation, and we both kind of said, you know what, this team can win with all 4 because it's an embarrassment of riches. They can probably win. They can probably still put up 30 points and win with 3 out of the 4, right? They did that. They won the NFC Championship game without AB last year, right? There were some games they won without Godwin, et cetera. But now you're back to that scenario as you were with Washington. We have 2 out of the top 4.
Right.
And those 2 left are Evans and Gronkowski. And neither one of them is the dynamic, explosive player that Godwin is in the slot or AB is outside with his ability to create.
Right.
So this is going to put a lot of pressure on Byron Leftwich to really get creative with the play calling, to do some more things to scheme those guys open. Now,
yep.
What we didn't have back at the Washington game in November that we have now is a couple of guys that have made some plays for Tom Brady. Rashard Perriman with the walk-off touchdown against the Bills in overtime, and Cyril Grayson now stepping up for 2 straight weeks, which leads me to believe he's not a fluke. He might be, the real deal as a number 3 receiver. We'll see. But I was a drive, hell of a catch, and not just the 33-yard touchdown. It was also the 20-yard catch.
Yes.
He came up with 20 yards. That was big. So I just wonder now if they can get by with 2 out of the 4 and still be explosive enough to win on offense. But maybe they can, because we've seen the emergence here in December of guys like Perriman and Grayson.
Yeah.
And Brady's been a bit of a kingmaker in his past.
Yes.
We all know Randy Moss, we all know Wes Welker, and we all know, Julian Edelman and Gronkowski, right? But there's also been, guys like Ben Watson, the tight end. There's been guys like Danny Amendola. There's been guys like Chris Hogan.
Deion Branch.
That have stepped,
exactly.
That have stepped up for Brady when he's needed a guy that's what I call a semi-star. Not a star, but a semi-star to come up with the big play in a playoff game or whatever. And we saw even Scotty Miller do that last year. He's still in the mix and still in the rotation. Maybe his number, gets called this week. So I'm not going to count the Bucs out because of Brady, but he's going to have to be a kingmaker again with some of these guys, because I just don't know if they have enough talent with Gronk and Evans to go out there and put up 30 points in a game and win a shootout like against Dallas or the Rams,
I think it's a great point, and I think you have to look at the individual attributes of these players. Cyril Grayson is a world-class track star, or was. He's got world-class speed, so he is a guy that one-on-one you're going to get. You can throw that ball, that 3rd and 20, where he's on a go route and then does that stop move right at 20, because the guy has to respect his speed. And as soon as Brooks, I think it was on him, flipped his hips, he stops and Brady delivers the ball. Those are the routes that AB runs, because you have to respect his speed. And with Grayson now, you have to respect his speed. People have seen it on tape now. They can't squat on this guy. So I think he can replace AB. But AB is such a finished and polished receiver. He's been there, done that. But the fact of the matter is, Grayson has now made a couple of huge plays, and he has Tom Brady's trust. Can he be that guy?
Yeah, I think we're going to find out, right? I mean, he had he catches 31 yards against Carolina 2 weeks ago. He's going to play Carolina again. Probably going to start. Mike Evans and Gronkowski, or maybe Perriman gets the start. We'll see how it shakes out in the depth chart. You're going to see a lot of Cyril Grayson, and why not? This guy's really stepped up. I mean, the 62-yard catch in that first game against Carolina showed off his speed, and then the 33-yarder, like your team was game catch for a guy, JP, that came into this game with only 5 career catches.
Yeah,
he had 6. He had 6 on Sunday. He came in with only 5. And listen, I cover the Buccaneers. I get paid to do this for a living. I didn't realize this till I looked it up this week. Cyril Grayson's 28 years old. I thought this guy,
oh my God,
maybe like 25, 26. That he's still like this kind of young, up and coming guy. He started in the league in Seattle on their practice squad in 2017. And he has been on, I think, 6 different practice squads. The Bucs have had him for the last 3 years. And it's a testament to Jason, John Spytek, and the pro personnel scouts, to like Rob McCartney, to come in and be patient with this guy, develop the talent, keep him on the practice squad till you need him. And it's also a tribute to Cyril Grayson for working his ass off and putting himself in position to make
100%. 100%. And I don't want to get lost what Brady and this entire team did in this comeback. I mean, there are so many plays in this game. The last touchdown, Grayson, the throw. I mean, it was clear Elijah Riley did not think Brady could throw it that hard, that fast to the corner. He thought he had time to get over there, and his arm strength surprised him. There's no question about that. That's why that play worked. The throw to Gronk over the middle, the 3rd and 20. Brady, I mean, it was a virtuoso performance. It was unbelievable. Ball placement to Evans on the touchdown. Ball placement to Cameron Brady. He was not even close to open. He just turned around and the ball stuck in his shoulder pads and his chest.
Right.
I mean, Brady was phenomenal. I know when people get sick of us glossing him, but my God, unbelievable.
JP, he's the MVP.
He is the MVP.
Give it to him.
Yes.
Give it to him. He's got over 1,000 yards more than Aaron Rodgers. He's got 5 touchdowns passing more than Aaron Rodgers. He's got a couple of rushing scores. I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers has any rushing touchdowns this year, but he might have 7 or 8 total touchdowns more than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has won one more game. That's it, one more. So why Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady? Brady's doing unreal things at the age of 44. He's got back-to-back years with 40 touchdown passes. It's only been done another time in NFL history. Listen, I get the Brady fatigue. I get it, right? People are ready to move on, unless they're Brady fans, unless they're Bucs fans, unless they're Patriots fans, right? The rest of the league is like, get this guy out of here. Come on, next. I get that. But what this guy's doing at age 44,
it's insane.
Absolutely unreal. It should be celebrated. It should be rewarded. He should have the NFL MVP. And I know it was a 1:00 game against the lowly Jets. It wasn't a national game, but you're right. It was a virtuoso performance. You couldn't have said it better. Some of those throws were just ridiculous.
Yep.
And the thing is, no timeouts, 93 yards. He didn't bat an eye.
Nope.
There was no frenzy. There was no panic. There was no hurriedness. It was a state of calm. And you could see the calm just wash over the Buccaneers offense like a wave. And everybody just played in harmony.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic drive, JP.
Oh.
93 yards. No timeout.
Yeah. In a minute. I mean, just as good as it gets.
It's as good as it gets.
Scott Reynolds joining us here, Pewter Report. Just a couple minutes left. I got to ask you about this. The defense, the run defense was awful.
Oh,
a lot of missed tackles. And I got to call out Todd Bowles. Where the hell is Vita Vea on that final drive and Will Golston and Ndamukong Suh until you get down to the 10-yard line? The entire drive, they were not in the game. I'm like, I know Vea's on a pitch count each and every game, and I think that's wise. But at that point, that goes out the window. You got to get the ball back. Why the hell were they not in the game? And that run defense was just atrocious.
Yeah, that's something we have to ask Todd Bowles.
Yeah,
that's maybe it was a thing where they were just gassed. I mean, listen, it takes more energy to play run defense than it does to rush the passer. Okay, because instead of charging and attacking, you are catching and defending. Right, you've got offensive linemen double teams on you. The running game can wear you down. Nobody runs the ball on the Buccaneers. That's what Bruce Arians said, but the Jets thought otherwise.
Yeah.
They decided to run 26 times for 150 yards, averaging 5.8 yards per carry. And I just think that some of those older guys got worn down a little bit, and I think that Bowles said, well, we're going to give some ground, and then when we need these guys, we'll make our stand. Maybe that was the thinking. I don't know. Got a little too close for comfort down there in the final drive. But the thing is, we're the linebackers. Listen.
Awful.
Devin White with two tackles on a day when the Jets ran the ball 26 times. Listen, if you're going to pass the ball 50, 55 times and Devin's playing coverage, right? I mean, you can forgive a low tackle performance. Maybe he's not in coverage. Maybe they're throwing the ball elsewhere. He's running around in space. Man, they're running the ball down the Bucs' throats. And he can't get off blocks. And this is now 2 weeks in a row where I thought he's had a really poor performance. 4 tackles at Carolina, 2 tackles against the Jets. This team misses Lavonte David in the worst way.
Big time.
And you have to wonder. It's like this guy's a first alternate for the Pro Bowl. I mean, come on. I like Devin White. I do. I'm not trying to disparage.
He can't get off blocks, man. He can't get off blocks. Yeah. And the missed tackles, listen, when Lavonte David is not out and you're the supposed Pro Bowl alternate,
you've got to be the guy. Like, you've got to be the guy that gets the C on the chest. I mean, you're a team captain. You can't go out there and have 2 tackles like you did on Sunday. I even asked Bruce Arians just to make sure in the press conference, is he dealing with the hip injury? You know, is that maybe the reason why he's struggling? And Bruce Arians said, no, it's not injury related whatsoever.
Got to play. Scotty, awesome stuff. Tell everybody how they can get all the great content at Pewter Report. Got to go there. There's so much good stuff from this game and moving forward.
Appreciate it. We've had record traffic these last 2 days.
Can imagine.
Sure, on pewterreport.com. So be sure to visit our website. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. And also, we invite you to follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Pewter TV, Pewter Report TV on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We do podcasts every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday during the season at 4 o'clock. We're actually be doing our podcast tomorrow night at 7:30, a special primetime podcast at 7:30. So check out our YouTube page. Then we've got a pregame, postgame, and in-game show on Sunday. So check out our YouTube page, Pewter Report TV.
All right, my friend. Always look forward to our conversations each and every Tuesday. It's so much fun talking Bucs football with you, my friend. We will do it again next week. And hopefully we don't have AB to talk about, but it is fun. Thanks, partner.
Exactly. I love it, JP. Thanks for having me on, man. We'll do it again next week.
The best. Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report. All right, quick break. When we come back, he was right there within yards of AB when this whole thing went down. It's TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy. He joins us next in 3. Stay with us. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now, so go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
JP, Santa, and young St. Nick, get us right over here. My partner for the Golden Diamond Source. You hear that Christmas music? It's Christmas time. You just popped a question to your lady from the Golden
info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have any issues with stucco damage or defective stucco, construction defects, sinkhole, hurricane, roof damage, Christopher Palermo will fight for you. The insurance companies make sure you get all that you deserve. Give them a call at 813-221-5636 or at palermopa.com for a free consultation. So if you think you have a case or just think maybe, doesn't cost you anything to find out. He is the expert. That's 813-221-5636 or palermopa.com. All right, let's welcome in the man who was yards away from where the whole AB incident went down. He's TJ Rives. He is the Bucs sideline guy. And TJ, I saw you right there with that classic TJ Rives look on your face, hand on your chin, like kind of trying not to look over there, but going, oh, my God, what the hell is going on right now? Tell us, please.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Yes.
And the strangeness of Sunday, I think, has finally sunk in. It was as weird as anything that I have been part of in 17 years on the Buccaneer sideline during a game. To have a game ongoing where the Bucs have the ball and they're trying to make something happen in a game they're trying to come back in that they need to win for playoff seeding, and to have that going on 20 feet away from me, that's as strange as it gets. And the amazing part of it that I don't want to have overlooked is they persevered on and won despite that, and won with guys that replaced Antonio Brown on the field. And I think that's the best footnote in the narrative that you can have, is they went on to win the game after that circus was going on with other guys stepping up.
So what did you witness, if you can tell us? And I know this is a very delicate subject. I could tell by Bruce's press conference yesterday, and Bruce is normally very forthcoming and super candid with us. And you could just tell that he's guarded about this. And I just talked with Scott Reynolds, probably has a lot to do with grievances that are coming up. It was almost like watching a deposition where his lawyer told him, listen, you don't have to expound on your answers, just answer the questions. And I totally get that. So I know this is a delicate subject for you, but what can you tell us just as an eyewitness? What did you see?
What did you say? The hour or the segment's brought to you by Joseph Palermo, right? Do I need to retain him right now as counsel?
He's not a criminal attorney, so you got
okay. We go. Whatever's necessary here. I can tell you what I saw. So what I saw, and we saw this right away in front of me, and I don't know the TV picked up on it until the antics happened in the end zone with him waving at everybody, et cetera, et cetera. But what I saw was he was obviously heated and upset. I saw Mike Evans and O.J. Howard trying to control him. I heard Mike Evans saying, don't, because he was saying, I'm going to quit or whatever to Mike Evans. And then that's exactly what he did. He took his shoulder pads and his jersey off and threw him down. Everybody knows that. Everybody saw that. So the only things that I will say just in general terms, okay, you have no argument as far as I'm concerned about being a team player or wanting the team to win, blah, 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 if you're quitting on the team in the middle of a game.
100%.
If you are just historically flaming out, your relationship with your team is over with, not even waiting until the game is over with. Remember the whole Keyshawn Johnson flame out?
Yes.
It all happened after the game was over with. They were out on the West Coast. I believe they were at San Francisco playing a game that they lost that year. And he went into John Gruden's office at Candlestick or whatever in that tiny, rat hole visiting accommodation that they had, and said to him, I'm not ever playing for you anymore. And that's when the real blow up happened, was right there at that road game. And he didn't even fly back with the team. It's my understanding.
No, he did not.
So this was not after the game. This was during the game. What possible argument do you have about your situation when you are quitting on national and now worldwide with the internet video, when you're quitting on your team in the middle of the game? And again, I give full credit to the Bucs to be able to block that out, and Tom Brady has everything to do with that, and go win the game. So yeah, I witnessed it. I saw it. I'm saying off the air to my radio boss, Jeff Ryan, I'm saying, hey, he is melting down right in front of me. Come to me if you want me to describe it. And that's what you see on the video, where I have that look And I'm talking to him. And then Jeff is saying to me off the air, he's like, he took his shoulder pads off and he's throwing stuff in the crowd. And I said, yes.
Yeah.
I said, yes. And he's running and he's leaving. And then the clip has been everywhere. I've heard from people all over the country. I've heard from people in Europe. I've heard from people everywhere. I just had somebody that I've not talked to in a decade that's listening to Sirius XM this morning, and they're playing the clip as well. So, I'm associated with that.
Wow,
and we do
nicely
what
done.
we do, and we were right there.
Did you see Bruce go up to AB? Did you see that conversation? I mean, obviously you can't see everything.
But obviously there was a discussion with him about why are you not going back in the game?
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted him back in the game. I can confirm. I can testify. I can connect the dots.
Yes.
This is earth-shattering news. We're revealing nuclear secrets on FanStream Sports. Bruce Arians wanted Antonio Brown back on the field because he's trying to come back and win the game.
Right.
No kidding.
And listen,
earth-shattering.
And piecing it all together from what Peter King was told by Arians and everybody else, he basically said he didn't want to go back in the game, and Bruce had to make a decision right there. And as you just so eloquently said, you're trying to win a game here. Everything is at stake, and one of your star players doesn't want you do not have time. You're down 14 points. You don't have time to deal with the temper tantrum of some diva. If you're not going to play, screw you, Cyril. You're up. Let's go. And we don't have to. And I don't blame. If Bruce said get the hell out of here, good on him. I don't need your distraction on the sideline. Get the hell out of here. And if AB got mad at that, so be it. He brought it upon himself. Come on now. This whole narrative that somehow BA bullied him into leaving, or he was injured and didn't want to play, and he threw him off the sideline is complete poppycock. He clearly was not injured as he was prancing through, and I mean prancing through the end zone. I mean, come on.
Well put.
There's no injury here. Go look at the tape. He's running like a freaking gazelle out there.
And again, just one more description, because I don't know how well TV showed all of this. They definitely had a wide shot. But, I mean, the whole lower bowl of the stadium to the left got on its feet and was just going crazy.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with the play.
Yeah.
Because
you could hear it in the background.
On at the other end of the field.
Yeah.
With him running off without a shirt on to the locker room by himself. You can't make this up, and yet it was real life on Sunday. And again, I understand there is a larger point and a larger concern. I'm not a doctor. I'm not even going to delve in all of this. There's a larger concern about what's going on with him.
Right.
But this is now the fourth situation that he's ruined. As a friend of mine has put, he's now got a fourth different jersey on the clearance rack inside of 3 years. Steelers, Raiders, Patriots for 1 week if they ever made jerseys for Antonio Brown, and now Buccaneers. They're all on the clearance rack. So there's four situations that he's ruined. I mean, do we honestly believe that when Bill Belichick had him with Tom Brady for one game, remember that one game, and he lit it up the first game with the Dolphins, and they blew the Dolphins out, and then Bill Belichick went, you know what? No. Do you goodbye after 1 week? Do we really now think that Belichick didn't see the same kind of things and the same kind of behavior and foresee that these could be the same kind of problems in my locker room and on my sideline? Obviously.
Of course he did.
And the Bucs were willing to put up with it. And the Bucs, this is another important point too. We know in this market, there was a firestorm about you should get rid of this guy after the vaccination card stuff. And they stood by him.
Yep.
They stood by him for football reasons, trying to win. They certainly didn't stand by him for him betraying their trust and getting himself suspended again.
Right.
They stood by him for football reasons. And now you're deserting the team in the middle of a game.
It's on him. Yeah, the whole CTE thing, we all have compassion for that. And I think that's probably at play here a little bit. But, how many other players have been through a lot of what he's been through? And a lot of them, they're not taking off their gear in the middle of the damn game. They're not, not showing up for practice during a game you got to win like he did in Pittsburgh. They're not attacking the general manager like he did in on the field with the Raiders. I mean, this guy is a special kind of crazy, and I do have some empathy for him. But again, you can't just chalk up all this stuff and say, "Oh, poor AB, let's let him come back." No, you can't do it. What BA did was absolutely right. He made the decision for the team in that moment, and they got a win out of it. And that's the other thing I want to ask you on the sideline. Did you sense, because I sense this from the post-game comments, that galvanized this team in the comeback, that him kind of, leaving them high and dry, that they kind of just galvanized. And look who the hero was, Cyril Grayson, who came in and stepped in for almost playing exactly the same position. I mean, talk about a great Hollywood story right there.
Yeah, and I don't know if it completely galvanized them. I think they were more motivated by the fact that, hey, we've gotten the ball back a couple of times. We've got a chance to win this. We've got Tom Brady at the helm. Because I don't know how aware a lot of those guys were of exactly what happened. They could see it at the other end of the field. Because remember, the offense was on the field trying to go make something happen there late in the third quarter. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so, but you make a good point that the mentality would be, okay, now we're going to come together as a team. We're not going to let that tear us down and go make the plays. And again, it's easier with the greatest of all time at the helm. And I can just tell you on that final drive, it was wild to watch. Again, that's the second thing that I will take away. I hopefully remember for another decade, another 25 years or however long, I'm still around this, still doing this, and can still remember it, that the composure that he had, that we've seen so many times with the Patriots, and we've even seen it several times the last 2 years with the Bucs, with no timeouts, with the clock running, we're not going to clock it and stop the clock, which I'm off the air going, clock it here.
Yeah,
you're going to save 10 seconds to run plays, but he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And teams have talked about this and coaches have talked about this, and they were putting it into practice, which was keep the same Jets personnel on the field.
Yep.
And if they're not going to take their own timeout and they're not going to regroup on their own, don't help them here. Run another play. And one more thing for your audience and for you, it is not a coincidence that they ran that out route a couple of times over to the sideline, including once with Cyril Grayson during that no huddle without clocking the ball. That's the exact same thing they did on the winning touchdown where Grayson went out and then went up and burned the Jets. And that is strategy. That is Brady. That is practicing that. That is, hey, we're setting them up. We're not clocking it. We're not giving them a chance to regroup or change personnel because we're setting them up for the big one. And boy, did they deliver on the big one. And Cyril Grayson is a hero. What a moment for him.
Man, that's a great point. TJ Reeves joining us here, Bucs sideline guy. Last question for you. Clearly right now, the biggest concern are these injuries. And to me, they're not going to do anything in this postseason without Lavonte David and Shaq Barrett. This defense has got to get those two guys back. They were shredded by a very average Jets team. And then the running back position with Leonard Fournette and now Ronald Jones going down. Keyshawn Vaughn's got bruised ribs. This is a team that's beat up now going into the playoffs. How do you see this playing out? Are these guys going to come back?
They got to. You're exactly right. They got to get somewhat healthy, and I think you're going to have. I'm not a doctor. I'm not on the inside on all the training stuff, but you're going to have a chance that you can get a couple of these guys back for the playoff game in some combination of David, Barrett, Fournette. Can Ronald Jones still go this week? If not, could he go in a playoff game? Let it rest for a week, whatever it is. I mean, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, here we go again with you got Cyril Grayson on and off the roster. You're going and finding guys. You go find Le'Veon. You got Richard Sherman earlier in the year. Now you got Le'Veon Bell
making a huge
cast
play
off by 2 or 3 teams. Yeah. And so Le'Veon Bell's in there in a couple of key moments on Sunday, including the screen pass there in the fourth quarter, including the 2-point conversion. He's going to be the guy that may get several carries or 10 carries or something like that here against Carolina out of necessity.
Yeah.
Let's see what the health of Jones is later in the week and what the health is of Keyshawn Vaughn in relief later in the week. So the hope is 2 or 3 guys back. You know, I have much love for Lavonte David because he's been the heart and soul of the defense on a lot of bad teams for going on a decade now. Got to get that guy healthy. I don't know how healthy he can be for the playoffs, but if you can get him, I'll take even like 60 or 70% of Lavonte David.
Absolutely.
If you can try to get out there and play. And Shaq Barrett is a key for the pass rush as well.
JP.
I would just say right now to the Bucs fans in departing here with you, just keep the faith here that you win this game this week and you have a home playoff game, and you may see some of these guys out here for playoff game number 1, if not playoff game number 2 if you win game number 1.
Yes.
Try to get healthier. But for right now, go week to week. Go week to week. Go win the Carolina game. And let's see where we are. Let's see what happens in the Ram game, and let's see if you can be the 2 seed. We've been talking on your show for like the last month. Get to 13-4. and see what happens. One more win, you're at 13-4. Let's see what happens. And if you're the 2 seed, you're getting a couple of playoff games at home if you keep winning. So let's see what happens.
The great TJ Reeves, Buck sideline guy. Follow him on Twitter.
I don't know about that.
Great podcast, the whole nine. He is the man. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it, partner. We'll check with you next week.
Always love being on with you. Let's keep doing this because that means the Bucs are still winning games.
Damn right.
So I look forward to it as the Carolina game comes up this week. Get this team healthier. Let's see what happens.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. TJ Reeves at Buck sideline guy. Follow him. All right, quick break. When we come back, Tracy West is going to join us, the Valspar tournament director. And breaking news, we got some big-time names about to join the Valspar roster for this upcoming tournament in March. Stay with us. Attention home buyers or refinance candidates. It is a great time to purchase or refinance. Home values are going through the roof right now. You've got so much equity, time to tap into that equity, get the cash, and make sure you're making the right financial decisions in your life. Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services in Tampa can help you out on all those fronts. I've known Fitz for over 30 years. He's done 3 of my mortgages. In fact, Scott has done over 3,000 loans in the Tampa Bay area for many of our coaches, athletes, from Bucks to Bulls. And he can save you big money. AMS is a wholesale broker. They will shop your loan to dozens of banks and let them compete for your business. Quick story, one listener had a done deal with a big national mortgage company, was promising a 2.75 interest rate. Well, when it came time to lock in, it was 3.25. Emailed Scott, got him the actual 2.75, saved him over $3,000 in first-year payments and $2,200 in lender's fees. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School in the U.S.
Few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices, Christopher Palermo. You can find that at PalermoPA.com. Chris Myers, Fox Sports play-by-play man, coming up at 11:35. He will join us from the West Coast. He was there, obviously, calling the game, and we'll find out what was going down in the booth when the whole AB thing went down and this great comeback. But right now, we're going to talk a little golf with Tracy West, the tournament director at the Valspar Championship. We have some big-time announcements. Tracy, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. How are you?
I'm excellent, JP. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm so excited. It's a great day to play golf. I wish I was out at the Copperhead teeing it up today, that's for sure.
I tell you, the Copperhead's in great shape.
Ooh.
It's beautiful right now. The overseed came in extremely well, and the greens are probably the best they've been. So it's going to be a fun couple months.
I was out there the other day, and they were playing, I think, the Canadian Junior Championship or something, and was just walking around, and boy, it looks beautiful. And I got so excited about what's going to happen in March as we move back to the March, the earlier March date in the middle of the month. March 14th, I believe, is when we start that week, around that
March
week.
14th.
Yeah.
14th through the 20th.
And I understand you have some big announcements to make right now for some big names coming that have committed. The floor is yours, my dear.
Well, we do, and we're calling you first, my friend.
I really appreciate
yeah,
that.
we're really excited to announce that we've got some really, really nice early commitments. We've got 6 out of the top 24 in the world already committed pretty much in the December and over the holiday time frame. So Dustin Johnson will be back.
Woo!
That's very exciting. Currently
Yes.
number 3 in the world. Brooks Koepka, number 16 in the world. So
Nice.
really excited to have both of them back. Brooks hadn't been able to play. He was committed the last couple of years. Obviously couldn't play in 2020 because of the tournament cancellation, and then pulled up hurt on 21.
Yep.
So we're excited to get him back out on the Copperhead. So those 2, and then in addition to them, of course, our defending champ Sam Burns,
Mhm.
which boy, he's just skyrocketed, right?
Yes.
We were his first victory in last April, and then he won again in the fall, and he just cracked the top 10 in the official World Golf Rankings
Really?
This week.
Wow.
So we'll have Sam back, which is really exciting, and he's kind of one of really nice up and comer now on the PGA Tour. So really excited about those 3 guys, and then joining them in the top 24, we've got number 11, Louis Usthasen, who's a fan favorite here,
Yep.
and recently moved to the middle of Florida, so
Yeah.
he's closer to Tampa. He's probably the PGA Tour pro that actually lives closest to Innisbrook at this point.
Mhm.
And then we've got number 20, Jason Kokrak, who is he's won 3 times, like the last 18 months. I think he's just on fire. And then Matthew Fitzpatrick, number 24.
Oh, nice.
So, always nice to have a European Ryder Cupper, here as well. And it's going to be fun. His younger brother, Alex Fitzpatrick, who is a senior, I think at Wake Forest. And he should be like about number 3 or 4 in the amateur world golf rankings right now.
Mhm.
And he won our Valspar Collegiate Invitational last year. And by doing so earns a sponsor exemption
Nice.
into this year's tournament. So
Nice.
both, and that'll be his, not a pro debut, but playing in a PGA Tour event, his first inaugural event from that standpoint. So 6 great names already. And we've got some other guys too, really fan favorites that have already committed. Max Homa,
Yes.
a 3-time winner, and probably one of the best follows,
Yes,
in
people
social
love
media
him.
on
Yeah.
Twitter. So he's going to play. Bubba Watson has already
Nice.
committed, so always great to have Bubba in the field. Tommy Fleetwood, who has not played,
Wow.
another European Ryder Cupper. Tommy's planning on playing. And then
When that guy
Sned,
gets hot, watch out, man. That guy can shoot 62 in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. And then Brant Snedeker. So
Oh,
and then
nice.
a bunch of guys past that, but that just kind of gives you a flavor for how well the field is starting to develop, especially this early.
Yeah, that's
and this far.
that's outstanding. Congratulations to you and your staff for getting all those early commits. And so that means the tickets are going to be tough to get this year. And let's talk a little bit about tickets. And the Saturday night concert is back. My favorite. Who do we have? We got. Well, go ahead and tell me, as I already forgot.
Yeah, no worries. We actually have 2 acts, so we're really excited. The opening act is Big and Rich.
Big
so
and Rich. I
country
thought
stalwart.
so. I didn't want to be wrong.
Yep. and
Love them.
They'll play for about 45 minutes, and then platinum artist and super popular right now in the country scene, Chris Young.
He's
is the
awesome.
headliner.
I've seen him in concert twice, and he is a phenomenal show. Oh, that's going to be so much fun. And that comes with the Saturday ticket, right?
That comes with the Saturday ticket. So that'll be Saturday night, Valspar Live. So we're really, really excited about that. And really just the whole week. We've got a bevy of activities. We're bringing back a lot of things that, we would have had in 19 and would have had in 20, a lot of fun fan seating areas, a lot of great food, great libations. It's going to be a phenomenal week. And we really think folks are going to come out in droves and have a great time outside, watching the world's finest golfers on the beautiful, Copperhead course.
Oh, and we got all the hospitality places back, right? The Hooters Owl Nest. Tell me a little bit about the hospitality, because those sell out pretty quick. If you're thinking about you want a Hooters Owl's Nest ticket and some of these other premium places, tell us a little bit about them and how they can get those tickets quick, because they will sell out.
Yeah, they definitely will. So yeah, we tickets are up and selling at valsparchampionship.com. And yeah, Hooters is back with the full build and actually probably even a little bit bigger build than we normally. So we're really excited to have them back on board. So those tickets are still available. And then there's a more premium hospitality opportunity called the Snake Pit Hopper or Snake Pit Clubs. And it's a hopper ticket, meaning there's hospitality on the 16th, 17th, and 18th greens that you can go to with this one ticket. And it includes all the food and beverage.
That's awesome.
Full bar service. So those are available for individual purchase on our website. And then certainly just, the standard grounds tickets as well. And then there's plenty of places for people to sit and a lot of different areas, fan areas sponsored by different liquors and certainly our great partners at Great Bay and Michelob Ultra, the Michelob Ultra Club. We've got the Publix Chill Lounge, the Horse Soldier Whiskey Lounge,
Yes.
the Mastro Doble, Margarita Deck, and those are all places that fans can go with just the grounds tickets.
That Horse Soldier thing is fantastic. I did the tasting last year, and it was amazing. Great stories and great whiskey. So much to do out at the Valspar. And have a plus field again, plus the concert. I mean, my goodness. Are you not entertained, people? This is going to be awesome. Go to ValsparChampionship.com and get your tickets now. Don't wait, because the best stuff's going to sell out, and you got to get it. Tracy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and thinking of us first and getting those out there, and we'll get it out on social media as well. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sounds good, JP. Talk to you soon.
All right, the great Tracy West. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Sam Burns, Louis Oosthuizen, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Max Homa, Tommy Fleetwood, Bubba Watson. It is going to be the Hooters Owl's Nest. Yeah. Folks, get your tickets now, quickly, before they sell out. All right, quick break. When we come back, Chris Myers is going to join us. He was in the booth, play-by-play man for this incredible win over the Jets and the Antonio Brown debacle. We'll find out what was going on in the booth when that whole thing was going down. Next. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities, including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
JP, Santa, and young Saint Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Golden Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped a question to your lady from the Golden Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. Golden Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who was so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to Golden Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Supercenter, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaways, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy, like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldanddiamond.com.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. You know, we're all just trying to make ends meet financially, and it's not just what you make, but it's what you keep. Think about how much money you spend on insurance every year. Well, Italiano Insurance can save you literally thousands of dollars. Here's how it works. Give them a call at 813-877
Finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on. Welcome back. FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can find him at PalermoPA.com. Is the sportscasting what Bitcoin is to cryptocurrency? The great Chris Myers joining us now from Fox Sports. Hello, Chris. Happy New Year. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Happy New Year to you. And it's good to be on with the JP. It's been a while. The mouth of the South, anything below the state line is the Sunshine State. Always speaking up big with what's going on. So
Yes.
glad to talk.
We no puns here. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Well, that was an interesting call on Sunday. I'm not sure you saw that one coming with what happened with AB and the incredible comeback with Tom Brady, the GOAT. Let's just start with the big elephant in the room. And I got to ask you, what was going on in your headset when Antonio Brown decided to make his exit?
Yeah, I've never seen, like, I've been doing this a while here at JP Football, but it reminded me a little bit. I was the reporter for the Fox Network in the Yankee Red Sox series with Pedro Martinez. Remember, there was this guy that with Don Zimmer, and I was right there in the stands with the two. So it had that little weird, bizarre kind of a thing to it. But obviously, this was just one guy. You're calling the game, so you're watching what's on the field. It's a heck of a game. Concerned if the Bucs are going to be able to come back or not, as well as the Jets were playing, and you're watching. It's Tom Brady, so you're that's where it's all about. They were out on the field, and you didn't see any of this coming. I mean, we watched the sideline and commercial breaks, like who might be going in toward the locker room or getting medical attention, and there was some conversation. There usually is. The offense wasn't exactly firing on all cylinders there. So you see somebody talk, Tom Brady talking to some people. He got upset about a call there. So that's where the focus for calling the game for the audience is. And we have replays, we have cameras in different places. So you could not see this bubbling over or going coming in. Arians, we talked to him on Saturday night. He was very clear about, I want AB to play. I know he's got the ankle, but he's good to go. And we're gearing up for the playoffs. I want our regulars to play as much as they can health-wise. So all that is on your mind, and all of a sudden I hear from the producer of our Eric Billigmeyer just says, hey, that's at first I saw this guy running out there without a shirt, and that's when I picked it up myself, and I thought it was a crazy fan who was trying to get attention. Turned out it was a crazy player trying to get attention, I guess is the way you could look at it, and that's not making light of any mental health issues.
Yeah,
but he obviously has some behavioral issues and anger issues that he has not accepted and dealt with. So that's in the background with Antonio Brown, but you don't think of that right at the moment. You think, at least that's what I thought. He goes, no, that's Antonio Brown. He took off. This is bizarre. He's yelling into my ear while we're live. He took off not only the jersey, the uniform, the shirt, everything. And then I saw him throwing something in the stands. I guess it was his glove and his shirt as we're watching this live. And Jen Hale, our field reporter, is down there running over to try to see what was going on. So we had no idea why he was so upset, why he freaked out, and just thought, usually when it's a fan, the policy at Fox TV, we try not to show the fan or give them any attention because it slows the game and security will take them down. It could be violent, et cetera, et cetera. So, but this was very different because, a few minutes ago, this guy was getting, throwing the ball or catching passes in a Brady comeback. So it really was kind of a scramble in our heads. And then you make the decision, okay, he's running off into the locker room. And then that's what I hit the key in the break with Daryl Johnson. Said, we got to find out what went on there. And we also, we need to bring this back through the course of the game because it's so unusual.
Yes.
And I texted somebody from the Bucs organization to try to get a statement in game, and they were very polite about it. Said, no, we won't be anything after the game. This higher up is obviously, given his history, this was an issue. So it was that kind of a mad scramble. And then I also had our researcher. You have other things at your fingertips, stats and details, but I knew he had been in some trouble in different places with investigations of sexual assault, domestic violence. In fact, he sent to anger management. I don't know if he completed that course or not. So all these things I was trying to I was trying to gather that. Meantime, JP, we got a great game going on.
I know.
Brady and comeback and a top or a higher seed for the Bucs on the line. So that was kind of the scene. Thankfully, guys like Rick Odioso and James Petralka, who are Tampa guys who worked with me through the preseason, were helping to kind of cover a lot of that while I was still calling the game. And then afterwards, there's a whole second chapter of this as we leave the stadium and go to the airport. But maybe that's not as important as.
No, I want to know. So we'll get back to the game in a second. But since you mentioned it, so did you see Abe on the way out? Did you just at the new airport? I heard he went over there. Then did you go to the Nets game with him? I mean, what did you find out afterwards?
We didn't know. Yeah, well, I never saw him again, but when we came out through the tunnel, we waited a little extra. We had, our reporter trying to gather more information once the game was completed. And again, this tremendous comeback. So it was exciting. So we were waiting in the tunnel, and there's cars and there's policemen to kind of help clear us out so we can get out. And we had a security guy. I had two different people tell me a similar story about that first, I guess when he'd run through the stadium or the locker room, he came out of the stadium without his shirt and tried to get into a police car. And they said, first of all, it's cold out here. You need to put some, rest of your clothes on. And we can't technically, you want to go to the airport to get away from the Bucs or whatever. That's what he was saying. And they said, we can't take you to the airport. So you go put the shirt on. So I think he went back in. This is the story. Got the shirt, and this has been altered a little bit. And then later, I think came out, had to call an Uber driver because the police would not take him to the airport. He wasn't being arrested for anything. Yeah. And I didn't want to give that indicate, but I think he just wanted to ride out of there as fast as he could get one, and assumed that the police might take him. And apparently they did not. And he went. All we knew that he was headed to the airport to get out of town and as far away from the Bucs. That was the indication. Which I know he was in the area last night. Yeah. So I don't know if he went somewhere, friends or whatever, if he ever left, but. Obviously, he's no longer a part of the Bucs. Whether he's released officially or not, because the players union certain policies, that secondary for a guy who obviously had a lot of opportunities, and however he needs help, as Tom Brady, I think, so eloquently put. They've got to move on from him as other teams have, and no question. And I think he's got bigger issues that he needs to care of in football.
Chris Myers joining us. He's did the play-by-play along with Moose Johnson on Sunday when AB took off. And I got to compliment you guys. I thought you hit the absolute perfect balance between the game and what was obviously an unprecedented happening in an NFL game with a superstar walking off like that and quitting in the middle of the game. I thought you guys hit a perfect balance. And I also, I applaud you and Moose for being very candid about what happened. I thought he was very declarative in terms of what AB's future might be, and from a player's perspective. I thought that was great. What can you tell me about that? How you guys?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, JP, and thanks for noticing, because it was a bonus having a guy like Daryl Johnson for two reasons. First of all, he's a great guy, and he works at broadcasting, and he's been doing that a while. He was a part of 3 Super Bowl teams in Dallas where he had superstar players, Troy Aikman, Hall of Famers, the Brady type, right? But he also had, there were Michael Irvin. Cowboys had some characters back then, Deion Sanders. I mean, not to this degree. I'm not comparing their behavior, but people that went a little bit outside of the team. Yeah. And so he had that standpoint to talk from, although neither one of us had ever seen anything like this, and I don't think many people had, which is why we tried to react. And then the other part is Daryl's done some work recently. He's helping with our USFL, and you'll have a team in Tampa. And he worked in the AAF, and so he has some recent front office skills with acquiring players and the process and the draft and understanding putting a team together and those kinds of things from kind of a GM, general manager perspective. So he was all over it, and it was raw emotion. And from my standpoint, as long as I grew up in Florida as a football fan as a kid, dreaming to do this, and I always try. You do the homework. You try to be impartial. You can't help but root for certain good guys, and some other guys that are difficult. But I always root for just a good game. But I try to always put myself in the position of the fan watching the game. What are they seeing? How are they reacting? I mean, I can't just be a fan because I have access to more information. But and that was my thought, without condemning anybody or judging anybody, but thinking of a Buccaneer fan or even an NFL fan watching that game, that same reaction until you learn more. That's the other thing. You got to be careful. You don't say the wrong thing without having the right information. But what was very visible there was very inexcusable from Antonio Brown, which is why the decision was made before the end of the game that he was no longer a Buccaneer.
Yeah, and I think that's the right decision. We've been discussing all day what exactly went down, how this is going to be handled in the future. how BA handled it. There are some people that are kind of upset at that. My sense is.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, can I interrupt on that?
Yes.
I think, they're really, and he's there as a football guy. And this is not, you have to look at the history of, and Buck fans know this, that he was taken on, and we went through the whole process of, one more time and you're out of here. This is not, you're not in charge of this guy's life. You're in charge of his football life. It starts with that. And I don't mean to be harsh about it, but, and I even thought, if you have these issues, you can go in the locker room and handle it yourself or privately. You don't need to make it all about yourself, which he's still doing, going to a basketball game and being very visible. First, it was an ankle that he was upset about. Then you hear him complaining. And again, I don't know how accurate the second part, that he wasn't getting enough throws, going to Gronkowski or other people. And when he had the week before 15 targets, and he had 3 catches and 5 targets. So who are you going to believe? At this point, his history is not on his side.
Exactly.
He's guilty. But it just means that don't defend this guy. And like the Players Association, these fans that want to defend him, go help him. Get him into a place where he can get some help before he gets back on a football field and damages or affects other people's lives who are trying to do their job.
So well
Anyway,
said.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, so well said. He was a ticking time bomb, and we knew this was going to happen at some point. I'm shocked that Brady was able to keep him on the straight and narrow for a year, and Bruce Arians and everybody. I mean, that should be the first thing on his plaque in Canton is of all his accomplishments, keeping AB in check for a year and able to win a Super Bowl with him. I mean, he was a huge part of winning this Super Bowl. I think if you look back at the, did BA do the right thing? I'm like, well, yeah, if a guy named Tom Brady comes to you and says, we need him to win a Super Bowl, even though Arians he did not want AB on this team. He told me that personally. He was very adamant about that. He said that publicly, but Brady went to the mat for this guy and assured him that he would, keep him in line. And he did for a year, and they won a Super Bowl. And as soon as his behavior went over the line and affected the team chemistry in a very real way, he was gone. So I think the Bucs played it perfectly. I think they did.
They did. And Antonio Brown should be grateful
that
he has been given so many chances. The Raiders, the Patriots, aside from the legal issues and the NFL investigations and other people at other jobs. And I'm not trying to bring. I mean, yes, you have talent in certain areas. You don't get after maybe a second chance. You're not going to get a third and a fourth. And instead of being Antonio, he has his own issues. But you should think about it. These are people that have gone out on a limb for me.
Yes.
They give me an opportunity here to get a Super Bowl. It's a rough situation right now. Whatever my issue is, and I'll let them finish this game and then I'll deal with it, privately with them instead of what. And he's done that. There have been other instances that teams have covered up before along the way. Again, not necessarily legal issues, JP, but just behavioral issues that are disruptive to a team and to an organization. And right now, you've seen, I'm sure, some samples. No team or general manager or fan base wants to be anywhere near this guy until he clears up his own issues.
No question. Chris Myers joining us here. I know you got to go. Appreciate your time. Just your thoughts on that comeback and those 2 drives that Brady put together. I mean, this is virtuoso Brady, and he's doing it with Cyril Grayson, as a key target, taking over for Antonio Brown. What a story that is, which I think you guys really, really developed very well in the moment. That's a Disney story right there, and the GOAT doing his thing. That last throw to Grayson. It was a virtuoso comeback performance by Brady. It's not something you expected in week 17 at the Jets, a team totally out of it. I mean, it's a hell of a football game that we witnessed in a comeback.
Yeah, that was the story. That's what deserves the headline as far as football and our job. And again, it bothers me when people say, "Oh, it was the Jets." The Jets, Robert Saleh, they played a heck of a game. They had a great game plan.
Really good.
Their offense, if they get that first down, the game's over. It worked in their favor. But yes, the comeback. A couple of things stood out to me. Prior to that, the 4th down, go for it, which they had to do at the Cameron Freight, not only the catch, but the throw, the timing of that. I mean, you don't do that, you're probably not winning the game. And then with 93 yards to go and no timeouts and just over 2 minutes, just the calm of Brady. I'm thinking to myself, obviously he knows what he's doing, but some of these throws were a little short. And I'm like, are you going to have enough time here, even though you're slowly moving the team downfield? But obviously he was comfortable. And again, you touched on amazing. He had to hit Tyler Johnson on a big gainer, and then Grayson without really his top, 2 of his top 3 receivers. Right, we don't have Godwin going in, but you don't have Antonio Brown, and then Ronald Ronald Jones was banged up, so you didn't really have your top two running backs. I mean, Fournette was out coming into the game, and then Ronald Jones is there. Not that he's a great receiver, but just the guys that you're not familiar with. And it had me thinking of all through the years, other than Randy Moss when he was successful in New England. He never had great Hall of Fame receivers.
True.
I mean, he made the most of the guys he had around him. He did have Gronk, and he did have Gronk in this game, which is, to me, a guy you do go to. He needs to go to when things are sluggish and not happening. But yes, a signature drive. I mean, the comebacks in history against teams and in playoff situations, amazing for Tom Brady. So I wasn't shocked. I kind of expected it, but I think everything was stacked against him, and yet he made it happen, which is why I still think. And they're going to get most of their guys back, as you know. I still think they're as good a Super Bowl pick as any team, certainly in the NFC, probably in the entire AFC, to repeat and be out here in Los Angeles.
Well, if they get the guys back, and they got to get Lavonte David back, I think that's key. Their run defense was not good against the Jets. They got to shore that up. But if they can get healthy, I think they got a shot, no doubt. And you saw the
Shaq Barrett,
Shaq Barrett too. You've seen all the contenders.
I do firsthand. The Rams to me are coming out at the right time. They're getting Cam Akers. They had another back go down, but if he's as healthy in his return, you talk about Tennessee, if Derrick Henry comes back for him. So there's some key guys. I know Bruce Arians gave us the indication that everybody he thought would be back for the playoffs, except for Chris Godwin. You mentioned the guys on defense and some parts on offense. And of course, Giovanni Bernard is out. But I got to say too, it caught my attention that he told us going in, Le'Veon Bell, we want to work him in. He could be this year's version of what Fournette became in the postseason run. Not that he's going to replace him, but at least they really do need, that other guy. If Fournette can't go the distance in a game, or you need some relief. But as far as other contenders go, look, the Packers are playing well. I just, they had that chance last year at home. Rodgers is at a certain level, and the MVP thing. This is not home cooking for me. I mean, I look at the numbers. Don't just hand it to Rodgers because of that top seed. Look at the numbers, Brady, and what he's done, things he's never done in terms of leading categories for an entire year, along with his MVP. So that, I hope the voters take that into consideration, and not just because of the Lambeau loving and drama, and consider what Brady is doing. Again, especially, he should get extra votes at age 44 to be
hell yeah. I mean, I don't think it's close, obviously, but I think Brady deserves it, especially. We've seen it up close what he's had to deal with in terms of guys going in, and I know Rodgers has dealt with that as well. But Brady's numbers and the way he's led comebacks in those situations time and time again, and the throws that he's making, wow, it's a tough call. But I think we both want to see those two at Lambeau Field for an NFC Championship game again, a full Lambeau Field, and you'll be there, I'm sure, on the sidelines, or you'll be there doing something.
I'll be there. Yeah, no, and
freezing your ass off.
Everybody would like to see. It'll be funny. Well, not funny. It'll be interesting to see how obviously the Packers will get to sit out one game, which is huge, right? But what the other matchups are, right? Because you got, we know the Bucs will have a home playoff game, and then who in there, the Saints, if you're a Bucs fan,
don't say that. Don't say that. Do not say the S word.
And I would still pick the Bucs to beat the Saints no matter what. I have the last 5 meetings. But that's the one I think they can handle everybody else, and I thought they'll handle the Saints if they do get in. That was a great coaching job there too by putting in New Orleans with what they've been through. No, I think it'll be an exciting NFC, even after everybody's shown flaws during the course of the year. And so that's why, and this is where Brady comes back into, he knows what he has. He knows he commands respect for a good reason. I think that Antonio Brown is not there, because this is when the focus, the Gronkowski's, the offensive line guys that step up and respect him, and even the defensive players of the Bucs who watch the way he runs practice. And he'll tell you there's a different intensity. You're always trying to win games. You know how focused he is. And then that comes up a notch. Some guys just aren't as good at that, and they also don't extend it to their teammates. Tom Brady has done that and is still doing that.
Great stuff, Chris Myers. Really appreciate your time. As always, you guys really, really did a virtuoso performance of yourselves in that moment. Well done, and really appreciate your time. And hopefully, we'll see you at the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah. Anytime. And again, in the playoffs, we'll talk to you then. Have a good New Year. Thanks, JP.
Thanks. Appreciate it. The great Chris Myers there, Fox Sports. Wow, that's good stuff. That's a pretty good show right there. That's a pretty good show. I mean, I think we've broken it down just to kind of recap what we've learned from the show today. I think when you look at all the information that's coming in from so many different parts, the Arians interviews that we played, you hear what Chris had to say going into the game, in their production meeting, that they were trying to get AB the ball. We've added it up. I think we've put almost every ingredient into this today. I'll ask you. You haven't had a chance to talk. We've had so many guests today. Nick, what is your overarching sense now of what happened and how the Bucs move forward? That's what's important.
Yeah, I still think that people that are going after Bruce Arians, I think based on the accounts that we've heard, this was an Antonio Brown issue. This has always been an Antonio Brown issue. And we laid it out there yesterday in the first segment for 30 minutes that we were going to be compassionate towards him like everybody else was, because there's the right thing to do with somebody that we suppose has something wrong mentally, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a pattern here, obviously, that's been disturbing. We're learning now that it seems like it was a ticking time bomb, and there's probably stuff that did happen that we'll probably never know, to be honest. Yeah. But we've pieced it together through Rappaport and through people that were there firsthand, obviously, which is good to know. As the Bucs go forward, how much of an impact is it going to have in the culture? I think none. I really don't.
I think it can only have a positive impact.
Yeah.
I think we saw that at the end of the game. They rallied together. Arians, said that at the end of the game, if you're not with us, you're against us. The guys in this room, I will take and play anywhere, anytime, anyway. So he was already consciously bringing the team together, pushing away the outside, forces that are Antonio Brown, anticipating that Antonio Brown's going to come back at the organization. And that's what's happening. His people are feeding Rappaport and other people who's an ankle injury. That's been completely debunked in my mind. Go look at the tape. It says what it says. He didn't have an ankle injury. So if he's spouting that, he's trying to, angle for some type of grievance. You heard what Arians said. They don't believe he was injured. They just don't. He all but said that. And this was about him wanting to go back into the game. You can hear from the limo driver that picked him up that he was bitching about Gronk getting all the targets. So this is classic AB, and making it all about him. And Bruce was not going to stand for that. You have got to remove that person from the team at that moment. Get the hell out of here. And I thought it was very interesting, the quote that Peter King got from Bruce Arians about, I haven't seen that in his eye in a long time. This is just me, my personal experience. I've dealt with someone with mental issues in terms of power and control. And when they sense that someone else has taken control of the situation and are telling them what to do, they snap. And that's what happens with this is the history that we've seen with Antonio Brown. Authority figures telling him that he can't do something, or you must do something, or you owe me money, or you do this. He snaps. He has to be in control. And when Bruce Arians took control and said, get the hell out of here, he snapped. And most players, and nobody likes it when that happens, a confrontation with a coach, but you have to have, put your team first. Like Chris just said, handle it, go into the locker room. If you have to leave, do it quietly, whatever the case is. But that's what you do not do. You don't make it about yourself. And that's what he chose to do.
And like I said yesterday, regardless of how messy it ended, you got a little over a year out of Antonio Brown.
That's right.
You got high end production.
You won a Super Bowl.
You won a Super Bowl, and he was a really
huge
big part of that run.
And you won 7 games. We were 7-0 with him in the lineup. You won 7 games this year. He made some big plays for you this year.
And like I said, you may not see it next week against Carolina, but when we get to the playoffs and maybe you're playing the Rams or something in week 1, you're going to feel the absence of Antonio Brown. You are. So the culture's fine as it pertains to the Bucs trying to win a Super Bowl back-to-back. We'll see, but
they're not as talented.
They're just clearly not even close right now.
And that's another thing. If you're a Buck fan, listen, this guy was able to hold it together for how long? And could you have not held it together for a little bit longer for your teammates and all these people that have supported you, stuck their neck out for you and done everything, and now you immediately turn back to your Instagram, quote, friends? I feel bad for him. I do have compassion for him, but you have to call out the behavior for what it is. And it's damaging. And as soon as that happened, it crossed the line. Bruce booted him, as he should have. All right. Great job, Nick Geddes. Thank you all so much for listening. Another great show today. Scott Reynolds, TJ Reeves, Chris Myers, Tracy West. Breaking news today. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka coming to the Valspar Championship. What more do you folks want? entertainment. We inform you. We break news. We cut through all the clutter, and we're hopefully as honest as we can possibly be. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with another award-winning show. See you then.